is fire good or bad? The answer is yes. Fire will heat a building, but it'll also destroy a building. What makes the difference? It's whether it's contained or not. When people come in with emotions, is there any bad emotions? No, but it's how it's used. So what's really important, accountable people know how to contain their feelings. By the way, 4-year-olds don't know how to contain their feelings. Have you ever seen a 4-year-old who said, I want to have a temper tantrum, but it's probably not the best time right now. I'm going to wait an hour until my dad's in a little better shape. No, 4-year-olds, what do? They spew. Bleh! They puke on you. Now that's okay that's appropriate. 4-year-olds are learning how to contain feelings. That's an appropriate response for a 4-year-old, to just kind of spew. But how many of you have ever met a 40-year-old who's never moved out of that stage? Who still just spews on people, who brings all their problems from home to work? I was in a cab in Winnipeg, and I could not get this guy engaged. Grumpy old cab driver. And I couldn't get him engaged till we hit a pothole. I said, oh, there's sure a lot of potholes in Winnipeg. You couldn't shut the guy up for 20 minutes. People, we love, and I put myself in this boat, we love to complain. And we love to get reinforced for complaining. If I gave you half an hour, what would begin to happen? I notice it peaks, and then it starts to drop, because it's not sustainable. And so what do people do to sustain this energy? They just find somebody else to complain with. And many of us just go from one person to another and spend their life just because that's how they get a hit off it. It can be actually kind of addictive. It's a high. How many of you understand there's a difference between venting and bitching? Venting is contained. It has a beginning and an ending. And where is it done? It's done in a closed office. It's done in a closed space, where we say, you know what, I need 10 minutes, get this stuff off my chest. I'm going to get it off my chest, but then it's done. Who do you talk about when you vent? Yourself. You share yourself. Who do you talk about when you bitch? Everybody else. When you complain, everybody else. And this will contaminate a culture. So the whole premise for me around this is that if you're going to foster accountability, you really have to balance two things. You have to balance support with demand. You never want to support people when they need to be pushed, and you don't want to push people when they need to be supported. And it's a continual balancing act when you're working with anybody that you're trying to foster a sense of ownership with. The first step always is what? You got to support people. Listen to them vent. Listen to them get them, but then you push them. Hey, how have you chosen? What have you learned? How can you learn in the future?